introduction. In this study, we aim to develop and validate a forecasting model that could predict dengue cases and provide timely yearly warning in Malaysia. So basically, dengue fever is a mosquito-borne disease caused by one of four closely related dengue virus because it can induce tense joints and muscle pains that feels like bones are sharing. This disease was once known as breakbone fever. Dengue fever is spread through the bite of an infected Aedes mosquito. It is not spreadable from one person to another. After reporting in excess of 102,000 dengue fever cases and 320 deaths in the year 2015 and more in the year 2016, the Malaysian Minister of Health has reported a decrease in cases and deaths in 2017. Health forecasting is a novel area of forecasting and a valuable tool for predicting future health events or situations such as demand for health service and healthcare needs. Reliable health forecast is important for health and service delivery because it can enhance the preventive healthcare or service. It can create a list for the management of patient overflows, and it significantly reduces the associated costs in supplies and staff redundancy.
Research objective. The first is to study the pattern of underlying structure of the number of dengue cases in Malaysia as pointed out by the sequence, the observation in the series. Next is to determine the most suitable mathematical model to fit the data series, and the last one is to study the pattern of the graph of the number of dengue cases bi-weekly.
I'm going to present about the data description. From the data description, the number of cases reported during the first 9 months of 2014 stands at 77,527, and the total for the whole year are 108,698 cases. This compares to the 2013 numbers. For the same period, 23,099 cases and 48 of deaths. Furthermore, there were an increasing number of cases for a year in 2015. It is 85,488 cases of dengue with 234 deaths reported in that year. In 2016, Malaysia recorded a total of 101,357 dengue cases and 237 deaths, an increase over the previous year. From January 1 to December 2, in 2017, a total of 131,827 dengue cases were registered across the country. When compared to the same period last year, this represents a 36.9% decrease from 36.67%. In this study, there are 4 methods that have been applied to the dataset, which are knife with the trend model, single exponential smoothing technique, double exponential smoothing model, and average percent change model. For the first one is knife with the trend model. The knife model is frequently modified to account for characteristics. The use of this strategy is fairly common among businesses. Its appeal stems from the fact that it may be applied to even small time series. As a result, it solves a prevalent problem in most of organizations, that is a lack of data. The use of complex modeling approaches would be impossible due to a lack of data. All future forecasts can be made to match the actual observed value in the most recent time period multiplied by the growth rate according to this model. The one step ahead forecast made as reference point T, where T is the series last observation, can be calculated using this model as follows formula. And next, for the average percent change model, the average percentage change model is expressed in terms of a relative scale. It is assumed that the dependent variables forecast equals the current time period's actual level plus the average of percentage changes from one time period to the next. May not be suited for predicting beyond 1 or 2 months because the compounding effect will result in extremely high forecast over time. All historical periods are given equal weight. For the third one is single exponential smoothing model. Within the family of exponential smoothing techniques, the single exponential smoothing approach is the simplest form of the model. To create the fitted values and so forecast, the model just requires one parameter, the smoothing constant parameter. The prediction for the next and all subsequent periods is determined by changing the current period forecast by a part of the difference between the current forecast and the current actual value in a single exponential smoothing model. Minimum errors or residuals are used to express this. As a result, if the recent forecasts were correct, it seems plausible to base future forecasts on current estimation. Similarly, if recent projections have been prone to large inaccuracies, fresh forecasts will take this into consideration as well. For the last one is double exponential smoothing models. Brown's approach is also known as the double exponential smoothing method. It's helpful for a series with a linear trend characteristic. The capacity to generate multiple ahead forecasts is the key benefit of this method. The question, for example, can generate 1 or 2, 3, and so on ahead forecast values.
Okay, next we go to the analysis and results sections. The graph shows the number of dengue cases per week in Malaysia from 2014 until 2017. There were ups and downs in the number of dengue cases each week in the following 4 years. It is because the regularities component exists in the trend of the data and result in the distribution of the data. There are three situations that affect the process of estimating and identifying the model. Firstly, a major turning point at the second half of 2016 to early 2017. This is due to change in government policy aimed at reducing dengue fever infection, such as imposing a fine on every home that fails to maintain sanitation. Then their residential area, allowing larvae to breed and flourish there. Secondly, a random shock happens between the first week and the 15th weeks of 2015 that give a short-term memory effect towards the data as the occurrence of the rainy season encourage the growth of the mosquito during the yearly periods of the shock and temporarily increase the number of dengue cases, but shortly declines because of the rainy season only happened in 2 months. It also happened between the first week of 2016 and 21st of 2016. Lastly, the incident of an outlier but is in the case study, such a percent does not exist as there were no observations that are extremely large or small value available in data collected. Alright, as we know, in this assignment Univariate, we need to choose 4 models to test this model. Firstly, we choose a naive forecast. Based on this graph, it shows the fitted actual value of the number of dengue cases from 2014 to 2017. We can see that the actual data that fitted in this graph do not have any obvious correlation with the line from the new data that we forecast using the naive forecast. At the same time, we will get the value of MSE estimation, MSE evaluation, MAPE estimation, and MAPE evaluation by calculating the error in the model. After that, the average percent change model. The average percent change model is measured in relative terms. The model assumes that forecast of the dependent variable is equal to the actual level of that variable in the current time period plus the average of the percentage change from one time period to the next. Then, there are also 2 types of lines that show in this graph, which is similar pattern trend and trend components. We can see in this graph the actual data line that fitted looks really obvious with the line from the new data that we forecast using the average percent change model. Thus, using this model, we will calculate our error to get the value of MSE estimation, MSE evaluation, MAPE estimation, and also MAPE evaluation. Okay, next we go to the third model, which is a single exponential smoothing model. It is the simplest form of this model within the family of the exponential smoothing techniques. In this model requires only one parameter, that is the smoothing constant, which alpha value to generate the fitted value and also forecast. In our model, we use 0.929 as our alpha in this model. Initial value is the value that we take from the first value from the first row in actual data. Based on this model,
1039 is our initial value. Next, this is the graph that we gain from using this model. There are two types of line that show similar pattern, and in this graph also contains components that exist as trans components. We can see that actual data that is fitted in this graph is not too obvious if we compare with the line that the new data that we forecast using a single exponential smoothing model. After that, using this model, we can get the value of MSE estimation, MSE evaluation, MAPE estimation, and MAPE evaluation by calculating the error. Last but not least, double exponential smoothing model is our fourth model that we use in this univariate assignment. This technique is known as Brown's method. It is useful for series that has hybrid linear trend characteristic. As in simple exponential modeling, the main difficulty encountered when using this method is the determination of the size of alpha value. In this model, we use a solver in the Excel to find the suit value for alpha. 0.8 is our alpha. Then, using this model, we can get the value of MSE estimation, MSE evaluation, MAPE estimation, and MAPE evaluation by calculating the error. As we can see from this table, this is the result that we gain from we forecast use four models above, such as naive forecast, average percent change model, single exponential smoothing model, and double exponential smoothing model. To choose the best model among these four models, we need to compare with all the value of evaluation in every model. Single exponential smoothing model is the smallest value if we compare with other three models. In the same time, the MSE estimation value is slightly higher than the value MSE estimation by using single exponential smoothing value, but the average percent change model's MSE estimation value is larger than others.
As a conclusion, based on the analysis for the naive models, method of average and exponential smoothing technique shows that the best fitted models for forecasting is single exponential model. It is because single exponential model has the smallest value of MSE and MAP evaluation part compared to the other model. As you can see, this table shows the result of MSE and MAP on the three model, which is naive forecast model, average percent change model, single exponential smoothing model, and the double exponential method. Based on the table above, we have evaluated the MSE and the MAP of each type of model. On the basis of the size of the calculated MSE and MAP, we can conclude that the best model is the single exponential model. So the forecast value for the next week is on week 44. Since the single exponential smoothing model is the best fitted model, so the one step ahead forecast value is 1095.348 cases. That is all from us. Thank you and Assalamualaikum.